we'll just wait a few minutes for some people to join in our live feed today. We're making some Mother's Day jars, and I'm going to show you a couple different methods of how you can make them. Kind of a last minute gift thing if you're looking for something to do that's really affordable and easy, and you probably have all the stuff already at home to do it. So we'll get started in a second here. I've got some jars that I've already prepped, so I could work on them right away. I've painted these. These are all right from the recycling bin. I don't use the lids. I like to use them as bases. You can save the lids, and the lids are really nice if you want to put a nice little knob on the top. Yeah, so today I'm going to turn all of these jars into really nice gifts for Mother's Day. And I'm going to do a couple different techniques of decoupage. If you have any questions as I'm moving along or going, or you have any crafting questions, just let me know in the comments, and I can probably help you out. So the first technique that I'm going to do, I have this big jar, and I already have, all these are painted with my homemade chalk paint. The recipe is, I have a tutorial where the recipe's there, make your own, and it's really easy, works really well for adhering to glass. I haven't found anything else that I paint my glass with that stays on as well as chalk paint. Latex paint, absolutely not, it'll peel off on you. Acrylic paint sometimes is okay, but if you're going to go to the effort, mix up some chalk paint and paint your glass jars. I have painted these with 2 coats of chalk paint. Make sure you let each coat really dry in between. So this has 2 coats brushed on, completely dried in between each coat. And then my last coat, I take a sponge and I sponge it on. I find sometimes it's okay, but a lot of times you'll get the brush marks in it when you're using, when you're painting with chalk paint. So if you're sponging it on for your last coat, it gets rid of a lot of those little lines, and it makes a nice smooth finish. And I don't know if you can see, I can bring it up a bit closer, but it's a nice smooth final coat. So 3 coats of chalk paint. The big trick, let it completely dry in between coats, and this stuff will stick on your jars. Okay, so the first one that I'm going to show you that I did, get this stuff out of the way, and all these stencils are available in my, or all these graphics, sorry, are available in my Etsy store. I just posted them this morning, so if you see one that you want to grab, head over there afterwards and pick it up. And I've priced them all, they're $1 each. So, and there's 3 files. You can have a JPEG, a PNG, and I've also done a reversed one. So all of these techniques that I'm going to do today, you can grab the graphics and do them yourself at home, and head over to my Etsy store. I'll put a link down below in the description also when I post this video, and you can find it easy. And they're only $1, and you can save them to your computer, use them whenever you want, and get crafting with them. Okay, so the first one that I've done is my reverse graphic technique with Mod Podge. So I've printed off my graphic on regular computer paper, and you have to reverse the text when you're doing this. And I've used this on a LaserJet printer. This will sometimes work with an inkjet, but the results are kind of 50-50. The LaserJet works really well, so I printed them off on my LaserJet. You just put a light coat on the graphic with your Mod Podge. I use a Mod Podge mat. Press it on your jar, set it aside. Sometimes I just let it sit overnight because you want to make sure that it's really dry. So I did this up yesterday, and it's ready to go. So I was going to show you this one first. So you just take a damp rag and a little bit of water, and you just want to rub it on that graphic until you can start to see the letters show through. You don't want very much water. If you're putting too much water on, then it's you have the possibility of rubbing your graphic off, so you want to be really careful with that. So that's wet enough right there as it is. Put a little bit around the corners here, and then you just start rubbing. I like to start in the middle, and you just keep rubbing until all the paper is gone away. This takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of a knack. When I first started it, I thought, oh my goodness, this is junk. It's not going to work. But a little bit of practice and you can really get the hang of this technique, and it makes a really nice graphic transfer. You just kind of have to get the feel of how hard you should rub and how much water you should put on. The biggest mistakes that people make is too much water. And if you're putting too much water on, you're going to rub that graphic off. So as you can see, I'm just going really lightly. You don't want to rub too hard, and all that paper is just rubbing right off. The nice thing with this technique is it really blends in really well with the paint on the jar. And this one's Raising My Tribe. I thought this would be a really nice one for Mother's Day, a Mother's Day gift. And you could fill these with, after you're finished with them, fill them with some fresh flowers if you wanted, or get a nice plant. Or you could even, if you save the lid and wanted to keep the lid on it, you could fill it full of treats. But they make really great gifts. And if you're watching, let me know where you're watching from. And if you have any questions, pop in and ask me, and I can help you out. I kind of wanted to do this, I've done quite a few videos on my channel on this technique, but I've never really done one in real time, so you can't see how long it actually takes to do one of these projects. So that's why I thought it would be nice to do a live doing this, and you can see how long it takes to rub all the paper off, because it really doesn't take too long. We're almost there. So after I get all of this rubbed off, Israel, you're a long ways from Ontario, Canada. Welcome, John. So after I've done rubbing all of this paper off, what I like to do, you can seal these with your Mod Podge. I prefer matte. A lot of gals and guys have the glossy. It works okay too, but you have understand that when you're putting the gloss on, you're going to have a glossy finish. This will give a matte finish. When I'm doing my finish coat on these jars, I actually don't like to use the Mod Podge. I like to use a polyacrylic sealer. I use the Varathane one, and that's what I seal all of my jars up with. And that way, if you are putting any flowers or something that might come in contact with a little bit of water, it will help seal it better. Jamie from Vermont, welcome. I think that's Vermont, BT. Okay, so that one is pretty much done. Makes a mess, but it transferred really well. I got all the paper off of it, and it's ready to be sealed up. So I'll just bring this a bit closer so you can see. And I think this would look really nice if you took some burlap or some jute string. You could put some jute string around the top of it, some embellishments, and that would make a really cute gift. Okay, so that's that jar. And this is called reverse graphic transfer. So the next one that I'm going to do is I'm going to do the, I make my own napkins. And if you are subscribed here on my channel, you've probably seen the video where I make my own napkins with any graphic, any picture you want. Because sometimes you want to find a napkin and you can't find anything that you like. So you can customize them. So that's what I've done here. So this is a napkin, the back side of a napkin, and I have taped it onto a piece of computer paper and then fed it through my computer, and the graphics are on the napkin now. And now you can decoupage with them. So I'm just going to cut these out to size. The first one that I'm going to do is Best Mom Ever. So I thought that was a really cute one. And you want to cut it down pretty good to the size that it's almost at the graphics. You don't want a lot of excess napkin that you have to blend in. And then you're going to take the backing off. If I can get it off here, there we go. And you have your napkin to decoupage with. So I'm going to put it on this jar, and it's perfect. I've sized these in my Word program before I printed them off on my napkins. So you know you have to measure your jar, get the size you want, and then make them to that size. So this is called the water decoupage technique. And this is an amazing way to decoupage without any bubbles or wrinkles. You live there, don't you? Somebody might be saying they're from somewhere, but they're maybe not yet, actually. Okay, so this one, you're going to lay your napkin, put your words down, face down. So when you're applying it to your jar, it's the right way up, if that makes sense. And then you're just going to really gently wet it with some water. Not very much, and be really gentle because your napkins will tear really easy. And you want to have your napkin completely covered in water. Can you guys see? Hope you can see okay. And then just really gently, if you have any wrinkles, just kind of pull them apart. Okay, set that aside. And now we're going to put our Mod Podge on our jar. California or Canada, Sandra? CA. Okay, you're just going to put a light coat of Mod Podge over your jar. A little bit more than the area of your graphic. Do I print with a laser printer? Yes, I print my graphics with a LaserJet printer. You can use an inkjet, but sometimes the inkjets tend to kind of run a little bit. So you want to just do trial and error and see if it works for you. I can't even really comment on how it does work with a laser or an inkjet because I've never done that. I always do it with my LaserJet. Canada. Welcome, Sandra. Okay, so now I just want to dab up if I have any extra water on that. I've got the Mod Podge on my jar. Now this is what's so handy about this. You can pick, this is just a paper sleeve from the dollar store. You can pick your graphic right up, put it on your jar, center it, and if it's not centered and it's not exactly where you want it to be, the nice thing about this technique is you can really gently pick it up and move it and center it so it's right where you want it. If you were just going to decoupage on without doing this and you stick it down, once it's stuck, it's stuck. You can't move it. Belgium, we've got people from all over the world here. This is fantastic. Okay, and then just very gently press out any wrinkles or any bubbles that you might have. Really careful. And then all you have to do is take that plastic sleeve off and your napkin's going to stay on the jar. Just like that. Now if you find you've got a few little bubbles that have shown up, you can just kind of tap them with your finger, or what you also can do, if you've got a little piece of saran wrap, you can use saran wrap and just dab at those little wrinkles and they'll blend right in. I'm going to try to Mod Podge napkin to my old rocker. That would be beautiful. And it always gives it so much character and one of a kind. There, that's transferred onto that jar. So what you want to do now, let it completely dry. Set it aside, and when it's completely dry, you can go back and you can put your coat of polyacrylic on it and seal it all up. So I'll set that aside. And then I have another one that I'm going to do the same technique on. Another Mother's Day quote. Does your laser printer do color or just black ink? My LaserJet printer only does black. I don't have, that's my next purchase actually, is to get a colored LaserJet printer. But right now I can only do black. And if you don't have access to a LaserJet printer, I know a lot of printing stores like Staples, office supply stores have LaserJet printers, and you can go in and print off on their printers and not have to worry about seeing if your inkjet works or not. Looks great, thank you. For the outside, what sealer would you use? I actually have bought, I have some right now actually, the Varathane, and it's linked in my Amazon store. You can buy the Varathane for outdoor, and it will seal it up. I don't know if it's 100% waterproof, but it would definitely seal it up so it will stand up a little bit better in the outdoors than the other formulas. So this is a Varathane outdoor water-based. Make sure you're buying the water-based. Don't buy an oil-based. If you're using an oil base, it will go yellow on you. Just gonna trim this up a bit more. Okay, so this graphic that I made, to the world you are a mother, but to our family you are the world. And that's a really cute one too. I'm gonna cut this one down a bit more at the top. Now, what I like to do, I kind of rushed today doing a live because I don't want to be here for 3 hours doing this. When you're putting this down on your plastic sleeve, like I'm going to do right now, make sure you're flipping it over this way, is when you're wetting it, you can take a hard little paintbrush or something and kind of blend the corners around the napkin and make it a little bit ragged so it blends in better when you're putting it on the bottle. But for the sake of today, not having a whole lot of time, I'm not doing that. I'll show you what I mean though. I'll just grab a little paint. So just take a paintbrush and just kind of at the edge of the napkin and just kind of make it so it's not a straight edge, and you can go all the way around and it blends in a little bit better. I find with this chalk paint color and doing this technique, you can't see the outlines it blends in really well. Can't see your whole hand. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. There, that might be a little bit better. I'm new at this live stuff, trying to figure out what works the best in being able to see everything. Okay, so we're ready for this one. Put our matte Mod Podge on. Yep. I'm going to this is the same method that I did on the last one. Hopefully you can see better now. You don't want your jar to roll around. I'm going to put a little dish of water here so it doesn't roll around. And this is on the plastic sleeve. The Mod Podge is on the jar. Just going to pick it up and place it exactly where you want it. If you get it on there and it's not where you want it, this is a great method. You can kind of pick it up really gently and move it to where you want it so it's centered, and then press it down. As far as decoupaging goes, this is actually my favorite method. Almost foolproof for wrinkles and bubbles. And hope you can see what I'm doing here better now. Okay, and then once you've got all your wrinkles and bubbles out of it, you're just going to really gently pick up that plastic sleeve. Happy crafting. Okay, John, thanks for joining. And then just really gently lift that off. Your graphic stays on your bottle. If you have a few wrinkles, just dab it with your finger, or like I said before, you can take a little piece of saran wrap and just dab it and it'll smooth it right out. There. That looks really good. I'm going to set that one aside, let it completely dry, and then I will put my polyacrylic on it. Beautiful saying. Yeah, I like that one. That's a really nice one. And this is all these graphics are available in my Etsy store. They're $1 a piece. You don't need a code or anything. They're just $1. Download them to your computer and you can use them whenever you want. Okay, so the last one that I'm going to do, this is a fun one. I have printed off a graphic on a piece of scrapbooking paper. If you have ever tried to decoupage with scrapbooking paper or even regular computer paper, it is really thick and it bubbles and it wrinkles and it's really hard to work with. So what I like to do is, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this down to size on my paper cutter so it'll fit on my jar. And I have a technique of making scrapbooking paper thinner with packing tape. If you haven't seen that tutorial on my channel, head back over and check it out because it works fantastic. And we all have scrap pieces of scrapbooking paper that we don't know what to do with or use with, and this is a great way of using all of that stuff up. So I'm just cutting this down to size so it'll fit on my jar. You can use scissors also. I just find this gives a nice even line. Okay, get this stuff out of the way. So here is the trick to making scrapbooking paper or any type of paper, computer paper, postcards, photo paper, making it thinner so it's easier to decoupage with. So, packing tape, that's all you need. You're going to put it on the back side of your paper and cover that whole piece of paper, that whole piece of scrapbooking paper. And really press it in. I have a credit card that I like to use, or an old plastic card. Push it right into that paper really hard. You want to get it adhered to it. Okay, then you're going to find that bottom corner of that tape and just really slowly, don't go reefing on it really fast. Just pull away that packing tape and see all that paper that's coming off the back of it? That's making your scrapbooking paper that much thinner to work with. Kind of magic. If you're printing off photos on photo paper and you want to decoupage with it, this will work. Put this packing tape on the back of that photo paper. Not original. I never would want to use an original photo. Always make copies of them. And this works perfect. Okay, and you can actually go back and probably even take more off. And I think I'm going to, because I want it really easy to work with. I'm going to put another layer on this. If you haven't tried this, guys, you gotta try it because it works amazing. Push that tape right down. Now I do find I've used some packing tape from the dollar store and it doesn't work quite as well as this is Scotch. I got this off of Amazon, and it works better than the dollar store tape. Probably just has more glue on it and it just sticks better. Okay, let's take, and the other little trick is always pull off, if I can find it here, always pull off the last piece that you put on, because you've overlapped it on that top piece. So when you go to pull, you won't be able to pull it off all the way. Now you'll see this won't take off as much, but it's still taking off some paper. You see that? So this is 2. And if you got a little bit of tape that's still, you can always keep going. Be careful, you don't want to rip it after you've come this far. And take off this last one. And it's quite amazing how much paper you can see that? How much paper you can actually take off. Got a little bit on this corner that I think I can take off. Okay, there. So now you've gone from a thick piece of scrapbooking paper to a piece of paper that's this is even thinner than computer paper now. You could even try to even get a little bit thinner. You might want to just fool around with your paper and see how far you can get, but it hasn't affected the print or the scrapbooking paper color or anything. So what we're going to do with that is, you can do this one with the water method also on your plastic sleeve. The same way. You're going to turn it this way, or you can actually even just decoupage it right on the jar if you want. I don't prefer that method. I like to do the water method, so that's what I'm going to do with this one. Same method as the napkins. You're going to wet it completely. You want to completely get that paper wet. And of course, this is going to take a little bit more water than the napkin because it's a bit thicker. Make sure you have no bubbles, no wrinkles. Let it soak right in. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to put on our Mod Podge exactly where you want it. Okay, that's good. I'm going to just dab up. I got a little bit of extra water on that. Just dab it up so it's not soaking wet. And pick it up. Put it where you want it on your jar. And then press it down. Get all your bubbles and wrinkles out of it. So these little jars, really, you have no cost in them hardly at all, other than a little bit of Mod Podge, a little bit of chalk paint, and just print your printer ink. It's pretty affordable, and they make a nice custom gift for Mother's Day. Best grandma ever. Get all the wrinkles. That looks pretty good. Pull away the plastic. And if you have any wrinkles that have shown up, you can just use your finger, press them out. And it's good to go. There we go. So I'm going to set these aside. I'm going to let them completely dry. Then I'm going to put a coat of the polyacrylic sealer on them, put some embellishments on the top. You can fill them with flowers, treats, anything you want, and I think it makes a fantastic Mother's Day gift. So that's all for today. I hope I've helped you out with your decoupaging, and take care, guys, and we'll see you soon in the next live. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.